Welcome to VMJPod's Employee Brand Series with me, David Macciocca, and co-host Grant O'Donnell. Each episode uncovers bold ideas, real stories, and practical tips from experts reshaping how organizations attract and retain top talent.
Well, welcome back to the VMJ Pod series where we're unpacking employee brand and recruitment marketing initiatives. That's the series. I'm David Macciocca.
I'm Grant O'Donnell.
And I'm Jamie Holder.
Perfect.
And we are so excited to be unpacking this because we've had a lot of employee branders and recruitment marketers join the series so far, but none who have actually led high-performing talent teams. Jamie, do you mind if you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Jamie Holder. I'm the head of talent at MUFG Retirement Solutions. We operate in the financial services sector and our clients are superannuation funds. So we're a B2B organisation.
Yep. And you are a global business?
We are headquartered technically in Australia, but Japanese owned.
Yep. And how many employees are we talking about?
So in Australia, we're around 2,700 and globally we're around 3,500. Our global contingent will grow as are our growth markets.
So clearly Jamie is not an employer brander. We are going to unpack how the importance of employer brand and recruitment marketing within high performing function talent acquisition teams.
Well, and surely you've obviously done several different roles within this space and had the exposure to different organizations because not everyone has an employer branding, capability, right?
Absolutely. So my first internal TA manager role was with a US-owned company that had a globally centralized employment branding team, and they were phenomenal. And basically my role was to regionalize the content for Australia and New Zealand. Then when I was with Ericsson, they had a APAC recruitment marketing person, and where I am now, we don't have anyone. It's kind of done off the side of my desk and as part of my role.
This is going to be fascinating.
This is unique.
This is going to be good. We've seen what success looks like and where the opportunities lie currently.
Yeah.
So let's unpack it.
Yeah. So delving into your own space now, I guess. When was it that you first actually understood the value of employee branding? Because obviously not everywhere had it, right? So the first time you came across it, was that kind of like aha moment of like, this is an amplifier for us.
So in the first internal role that I had as a TA manager, we had some significant problems with pockets of our business in terms of candidate attraction. One particular part of our business had a terrible reputation in the Australian market. To the point that if we put up a job ad, we couldn't attract candidates. And so we were having to lean heavily on agencies to tell a story. And we created a narrative of we're turning the ship around. We need good people to come on and help us. And so I reached out to the global head of employment branding and said, hey, you've got all this great US-based content, European content. Can we have some Australia-specific content that we can leverage? This is the problem. These are some of the things that we need to work through and solve. And she helped us do that. And we had LinkedIn Elevate at the time. And so she had a repository of content. She built a repository of content out for us. And we could automate the scheduling of it, much like you can with any LinkedIn post now. And that really helped it. And I thought it was going to be like an 18-month plan. And in reality, it probably only took us 6 to 8 months to start to see that we were able to start attracting some of this talent directly without leaning on agencies. So the ROI figure that I initially used was reduction of agency spend, right?
We were just talking about that, weren't we? It's low-hanging fruit.
It's so low-hanging fruit, but, it gets people's attention.
Well, it's a great way to communicate the value up the chain.
Yeah. And they saw the data. So a really important thing is for anything to have your baseline data because you need to be able to have comparative data down the track, but also to build a case around this is our problem statement. This is what the data's telling us. These are some things that could fix this for us. What are you prepared to invest? What are we prepared to do about this? Is this actually important? Do we want to solve this problem? There are lots of questions you have to ask yourself right at the front of the process before you start engaging your stakeholders.
And then does that then become that? Obviously, then that becomes better understood by those hiring managers as well. You've shown this value add in market. They used to have all these challenges in the past. Time to fill, obviously the downtime and productivity within their team.
Yep.
So that's then wanting them to come in and assist you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you talk to them about, the pressures, particularly in a sales team. That's a lot of pressure when they're having to pick up other regions or portfolios or product ranges they're not familiar with because roles are vacant for a long time. And obviously removing the cost from their P&L is pretty important to them too. So you kind of leverage that. And then you bring them on the journey and you talk to them about what it might look like and what you might need to solution. And you get ideas from them, because once you start incorporating their ideas, you get their buy-in and some ownership and accountability from them as well. And they start talking about it to their leaders or to the senior leadership team. And so by the time you're ready to submit your business case, you're not presenting something the leadership team doesn't know anything about. They've already got, oh yeah, I know about this issue. We need to do something about this issue. Jamie, what should we do about this issue? You've kind of got them on the hook already, and it just makes that conversation flow a lot better.
But that's also an insight into how you're going about that process. Not everyone does that.
No.
So, it's not turning up to the table with, here's this thing that you've never heard anything about. It hasn't been socialized. Yeah. You've done a lot of the pre-work, sounds like.
I think it's important because I've been in a situation before where I've gone to pitch a solution and I've had the response of, what is this? What do I care? What are you talking about? And that's a really uncomfortable position to put yourself in as an individual, and professionally, it makes you kind of wonder if they're seeing your value, if they're asking you, what are you talking about? So positioning yourself is really important. And as I said, if you've already had that pre-work done and people other than you are talking about this in the organisation to the leadership team, that's half the battle won. You're not just influencing at a hiring manager level, you're influencing at a SLT level indirectly. And that's really, really helpful. It smooths the path.
Where else are the opportunities, do you believe, that are impactful for employee branders or recruitment marketers to really be an assistance within talent team?
So in any role I go into, there are two parts of the organisation I try to befriend really quickly. One is marketing, because you're going to need them either to support with collateral creation or sign off on agency or consultancy content before it goes out. And the second is procurement.
No, procurement. Don't get me started.
No. I really do try to make sure that I have a good relationship with the head of procurement.
Yeah.
I'm pleased to say in my current work environment, he's my work husband. I'm his work wife. We go for coffee a couple of days a week. And it just means if I come into roadblocks or challenges, I just say, hey, this is what's going on. This is what I'm thinking. What do you think?
Yeah.
And you can sort of just get some assistance. It greases the wheels,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. No, it's really
but
good
also,
advice.
He's a genuinely nice guy, right? So it makes
Does
it
help.
easier. Yeah.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Video My Job, introducing the fastest way to turn employee stories into multi-channel content. One video now instantly becomes branded blogs, quote cards, social posts, and more, all perfectly formatted for the channels you use to attract and engage talent. And the best part, zero editing required. Record once, repurpose everywhere. Book your demo at videomyjob.com and experience the new era of employee content creation.
So if you were, a talent acquisition person that's out there, they want to build a moat so that they can justify easily the importance of employee brand or recruitment marketing. How does someone do that?
Yeah. So there are a range of external tools that most organisations have access to, and some internal tools, right? So everyone's got an employee engagement survey of some description if they're, more than 500 employees typically. So you can look at your engagement data and see what your employees are telling you about their lived experience. And that can get looped back to your EVP, which then feeds into your employment brand, right? External data, you've got the review boards, you've got Indeed, you've got Seek, you've got Glassdoor. We're a part of the Randstad employment branding research every year. So we've got 4 years of data that they've put together through interviewing organisations and candidates across Australia and New Zealand. They also do it globally. The other thing that we look at is for our EVP project, we interviewed 10% of our global employee population.
That's a lot.
It was a lot. And for
what kind of interview?
It was a 5-question interview with preset questions. It was either done face-to-face or virtually. We ran it out of Australia because we didn't get headcount to support it. I actually got 4 interns in from a university.
You're so smart.
They were business grads that were doing HR and marketing because I wanted people who could see the value of what we were trying to do. So we got 4 people in, and over 2.5 months, we interviewed 350 employees globally, and we asked them, why did you join us? Why do you stay? What do you enjoy most about your job? Have you ever thought of leaving? And why did you stay? And it was all free text. It was all, conversational. So we were able to probe if they were, like, oh, I really like my colleagues. Okay, so what is it about your colleagues that you really enjoy? What makes that relationship enjoyable for you? And we got a lot of really rich data out of that, like around, I love my job because it's really interesting, complex work. I love helping people. And if you think of our organisation, we're helping super fund members, right? So if they're getting in touch with us, it's normally not the greatest time in their life. So empathy is massive for us. So we got a lot of really rich data out of that, and we were able to use that to build some of the case around this is what we go to market with and this is what our employees tell us, and they don't line up. And there were pockets in there where we had unintended findings, like we found one part of the business that had a lot of retention risk, and we were able to talk to that leader and they put something else in place to drive some retention initiatives in that part of the organisation. So there's unintended stuff that came out of that, which was really interesting. But bringing it back, so there are lots of different data points you can use, and that baseline data is critical because then you can say, before you start, you can say, we've got poor candidate attraction, we've got poor employment brand recognition, people outside of our industry don't know who we are. We know for us that's the case because of what we do. And you can come up with all these things, and then you create some problem statements. And you want to come up with as many problem statements as you can, and then you whittle them down to maybe your top 5. And then you can start thinking about how can we solve these? What are potential solutions? You don't want to do it by yourself. You want a group of different people thinking about it. And that's where you can start bringing in your hiring managers going, hey, we've got these problem statements we'd really like to solve. How is this impacting you? And then they get into the process and they get a bit excited, and they can give you some off-the-wall ideas sometimes, but that's fine because they're engaged. So there's lots of data you can use. And then once you've started your project, you've got something to refer back to show incremental or massive improvements and turn that into an ROI conversation. And if you're really clever, what you'll do is you'll go out to vendors and get their business cases from their clients and share that data. So you can say potential ROI in your business case.
Did you have any, this is like almost, you're adding another layer to your internal engagement surveys. Were there any barriers to now going, okay, we want to tap the employees for more conversations, more data? Is that embraced internally?
It was. So we did our initial interviews, and we've got an internal recognition program where you can, give someone a high five, which is 0 points, and then a small points allocation, and then a bigger points allocation. So I kind of phased it. So everyone that completed it got a high five as a thank you. It goes out to everyone in the organisation.
Internal recognition.
Internal recognition. Winner. No cost. Easy fix. For the next stage, when we were asking people if they were willing to work with us on creating some content around what they'd told us, either in written form, an image and a quote, or video, if they participated in that, they got the next levels of the reward system. So people loved it. I think that alone got some people across the line, but there were some people that were really passionate about doing it as well.
And what did it do for the business? Did it help with any key metrics within TA, like internal mobility?
We have crazy internal mobility. So we filled 56% of our roles in the last 12 months through internal movement alone.
No.
Yes.
What's that's unheard of. 56%.
I haven't heard that anywhere else. That's huge.
Slam dunk.
I literally just did the figures on this last week, so
Did
I'm
you?
really stoked to be able to share
Congratulations.
that.
That's amazing.
It's incredible. So we've now got we've revised our OKR to 60% because I don't want to go too crazy at this point.
So for those who don't know, OKR, objective and key results.
Yeah. Think of it like a KPI.
Yeah.
You're
not a
shifting,
KPI.
yeah. Well, kind of.
A goal.
A goal. So now we've exceeded our initial one. We're aiming for the next one, but I'm not going to add another 30% onto 56 because I don't think 86% internal mobility is even in the realm of possible in most situations.
So have you got a bit meta with that data? Like, what is the message that really landed internally? Was it recognizing promotions, or was it, I don't know, could be anything,
Yeah,
flexibility in workforce?
How did you get to this point?
Yeah, so we have a hybrid working arrangement, and we've committed as an organisation that we won't go back to full time in the office. So our hybrid is 50% a fortnight. Then we also have our flexible work policy on top of that, where you can make your individual flexible work arrangements. So we've promoted that more internally, I guess, than we have historically. In our engagement surveys, we've always had feedback, I don't know how to build my career here. How does somebody, get promoted? So we obviously weren't doing a good job of showcasing that. So last year, the CEO started implementing in our quarterly all company town halls the number of people that had moved roles.
Oh my God. So you got buy-in from the CEO too. Awesome.
Well,
Very
the
clever.
CEO was actually the sponsor for the EVP project. Right at the start. So she's now left the organisation. We've got a different CEO, but she was very engaged with that process. And our current CEO is obviously also, supporting it because we're still going. So very lucky in that regard to have that level of visibility and buy-in.
How did you get that in front of the CEO? Like, it just didn't happen by chance. You pushed it up.
Yeah, so when I started, I reported to a head of people, and then she reported directly to the CEO. So HR was at the table at a senior leadership level, which is always a positive place to be. Very fortunately for me, my manager, and this has continued, she just went, TA's not my bag. You tell me what you need, I'll push it up the line. I'm not really so keen on that. I've got all this other stuff to focus on. So also a really good position to be in, because I've been in the opposite where HR are like, this is what TA do, this is your limits, here's your box, right? So it was a really good position to be in to start with. But at the time that I started with the organisation, we had a massive problem with early attrition in our contact centres. So we had, I think it was like...
It's pretty common.
Yeah, it is. So we had about 60%
Okay.
attrition in our contact centres,
Yep.
which, is maybe a figure common in a BPO space, not so much in a corporate contact centre.
Are you saying the first 3 months or the
In the
12
first
months?
6 months.
6 months,
Yeah,
okay.
first 6 months. So it was pretty high. And there was a lot of noise coming out of the business. TA aren't hiring the right people.
Please.
We're not attracting the right candidates. We weren't doing assessment centres. We were still, in that coming out of COVID era, doing one-on-one virtual interviews with every candidate. And we were doing 80 to 100 hires a month in the contact centres, because we had at our peak was about 1,200 people in the contact centre. So we were doing a lot of hiring. And basically that's what got it the attention. I was like, hey, if we're not hiring the right people, we need to figure out how we hire the right people. Let's have a conversation. And through that, there was no EVP. There was no employer branding. There was no conversation around training managers on how to talk to candidates and align with recruiters on the messaging. So you'd have candidates getting told one thing by the recruiter on the phone, and then, potentially getting a different message throughout the interview process. And that's a really good way to turn a candidate off. Or they'd have a consistent recruitment experience, and then they'd start and their lived experience was different, which is the easiest way to get early attrition, right? Tell someone they're going to get A and then give them G, it's not a great position. So that's what got the topic on the table. And so then we started talking about EVP, and I put a project plan together and shared it with the head of people and the CEO, and basically got the tech, and then did a business case, and we got a video platform on, we got a assessment tool on, and we built out on-site assessment centres for our volume space. And our attrition as at last week in our contact centres is 21%.
Yes.
Perfect. Success.
Yeah. So it's kind of like tick, tick, tick.
How long was that project?
The initial EVP project, it was never actually completed because we were acquired in the middle of last year. So we MUFG acquired Link Group.
Got you.
Yeah. So we're now MUFG Pension and Market Services, and the business I operate in is the Retirement Solutions business. So we got through the research phase. We'd started the design phase. Then we were acquired, so we halted that, but made a decision to quickly change anything we could with the branding, cut all the content we had that had references to Link Group in it because we just couldn't use it. And then we did sort of internal soft launch and some external soft launch as well. We put a lot of branding content into the assessment platform that we use. It's got like a company feature. So you can talk about the company, you can talk about the role, you can have video, you can have images and stuff like that. So we used that really heavily in the volume space. And so that's how we started to turn the wheel. But combining that, so you're attracting the right people or better people, and then you get them in and you have an assessment center and they get to get their eyes on where they're going to work, which is pretty important. They see some people that they might work with and for, and then when they start, it's a continuous experience. It's not, hey, you told me X, I've got Y. I was told I'd be able to work remotely or hybrid, but why am I having to work in the first 3 months all on site in the contact center? And that's all around training, right, before you get them on the phones. So, yeah, making sure it was a consistent experience was really important.
Yep. And forming an alliance with the hiring manager, is there an opportunity for you to play a role in helping the hiring manager retain the people?
Yeah, so we obviously have a lot of internal mobility. A lot of that comes through our contact centres.
Okay.
So as an organisation, we don't have any hard and fast rules around the length of time you've got to be in the company before you can move. However, it's around 6 months before you get ROI on a contact centre headcount because you've got X amount of training. They've got to learn a stupid number of systems. But so by the time they're fully up to speed and capable, they're usually 4 to 6 months in. So we work with the hiring managers whenever they're recruiting. Okay, who are the people that perform well? What are you doing? How are you working with them? So my role's talent. It's not just TA. TA's part of our role, but I've also got succession planning, internal mobility, career pathways, and so on. So off the back of it, we're now building an internal career pathways program. This is where I was talking earlier about having cut thousands of lines of data, tracking when people come in as a CSO, what is the next role they move into. And we've got 18 different jobs, 18 different roles in our business that our customer service officers move into. And then from there, what are the next roles that they move into? And it just expands out exponentially. It's crazy.
So is this so you've essentially taken an observation of the behavior of your employees and now turned it into a selling point?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And the internal career pathway, my intention is to build it out. So one, we're promoting it more internally to reduce that feedback and the engagement survey around, I don't know how to build my career, rolling out some strategic mentoring programs. So not just hey, who wants a mentor, who wants to be a mentee, get together, have a coffee, but who in the contact center space wants to move into our insurance space, who in the insurance space wants to be a mentor to someone coming out of the contact center space. Let's get you together and have some structured conversations. So that's a project that we're kicking off in about 2 months.
And does that then, I guess, obviously you've got huge numbers for internal mobility. Has that also then had an impact on referrals as well?
Referrals are interesting. We get a lot of referrals from our contact centre people for contact centre staff. They're probably about 50% successful of the referrals we get. We don't get so many referrals for our more senior roles because the contact centre staff make up, almost a third now of our Australian population, so employee population. So we don't get as many into the more senior roles, but what we have found is we have a lot more organic traffic going to our careers site as opposed to going via a job link to the careers site. So people are coming to our career site to look at what we've got on rather than
to learn.
Seeing
They're curious.
Yeah.
And you want them to take action and then...
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm assuming because that messaging is aligned, like that not only are they getting experience, maybe there's a reduction in costs from other advertising.
Our job ad costs are down year on year.
Yeah.
So
what, like range?
So I think we were between $16,000 to $20,000 a month about 18 months ago, and now we're between $4,000 and $8,000 a month.
That's great.
For job board advertising.
So I've just replay what I've heard. We have heard. We've heard employer brand recruitment marketing has impacted on internal mobility, general communication to improve the candidate experience, a reduction in advertising costs by getting that correct, referrals. Like referrals is 50%. Referrals is going to improve your metrics around time to hire and
Absolutely.
general sentiment. If someone internally is recommending other people, they're pretty happy.
Yeah.
What have I missed?
Agency spend, low-hanging fruit.
That was the first one. That was so long ago.
I know. But it's a big one because that adds up really fast.
Yeah.
So we don't do any agency recruitment in our contact centre space now unless we have a short-term, fast turnaround temp requirement. Otherwise, we do it all ourselves.
It's more of outsourcing the payroll aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you think, because you're head of talent, do you think the person that you're reporting into understands that employee brand recruitment marketing
Yes.
function and the importance of it?
Yes. So he is actually, so Scott is our GM of HR. He is the executive sponsor for the project, EVP Employment Branding Project. So I have a fortnightly meeting with him, updating him on the project, what we've done, what's coming next, any challenges I'm having. We kind of have a joke, and I do this with my team. Are there any heads we need to knock together to get this moving? And he's very supportive of that. Yeah.
Do you have, I don't know, but do you have like a slide dedicated to recruitment marketing, employer branding, or the initiatives?
Yeah. We've got I've got a pack.
You got a pack.
Because there are a number of initiatives. I've also got like an Excel spreadsheet mapping out a video campaign.
Yeah.
So we've got it by BUs and then we've got it by themes.
Yeah.
And then obviously regions, because the regional EVP in Hong Kong is very different from Australia, which is very different from India, which is very different from the UK. So we've got a global kind of strapline, but then we're working on regionalised content for each of the regions because they're very different. Yeah.
Was he always aware of the impact of employer branding, or has it been a journey that you've been on with him to educate him?
He was aware of it. So he started just over a year ago. He was aware of it already. So I made him aware of the work that we had done that had been interrupted by the acquisition. And he basically said, that's great because it's going back on the HR project list and you're in charge of it. And I went, cool, thanks. Yeah. So no, he was aware of it. He's a supporter. We don't always agree on details of how we're going to do something, but that's a conversation you've got to have, whether it's a stakeholder, a manager, a leader, CEO, board, whatever, on the direction that we go in.
So you started off and you had some interns come in and they provided you with that level of assistance. How are you doing your employer branding aspects now and the executional elements that you've mentioned?
Yeah. So we've, because it was interrupted, we only generated a smaller amount of content out of everything we did because we had to cut anything that had reference in the videos, spoken or written, to link group. So we recut a whole lot of videos. We've created a YouTube channel. And we've got a couple of things. We've got a Meet the Leader series where we've got 3 or 4 of our leaders talking about their part of the business. So technology, procurement, work husband, insurance. So our insurance business is quite a large part of our organisation as well. So they talk about them, and we personalised that and made that a two-way conversation. So you get to hear who their footy fan is, what their management style is, but also what value their part of the business brings to the organisation and how it links to our mission and purpose. So it's, it kind of flows through. Then we've got some staff doing day in the life kind of stuff. We've got a DEI stream. My favourite part of that, bizarrely, is 2 of our employees who have guide dog puppies and bring them into the office. Like, so how
cute.
cool is that?
So cute.
They're also our 2 most viewed videos.
Okay.
So,
well,
hello, dogs,
Yeah.
guide dogs, yeah. So yeah, we've got it thematically, and then we've got it by business, and then the day in the life stuff. But there's more to come. There's a whole plan now coming off the back of the work we're doing at the moment.
so if you have an employer brander in your team, a recruitment marketer, and you've worked in a number of roles, what do you want to see from them as head of TA to communicate effectively to you?
Yeah, I don't in my current role, and I haven't had one report to me before. They've always been separate reporting lines, so they've never sat under me. But in a hypothetical situation, what I would like to see is, I guess, some workshop facilitation with employees to make sure that this reflects their lived experience, understanding there needs to be some aspirational piece to EVP and EB as well. So make sure it aligns and resonates with our employees, because the last thing you want is somebody leaving the organisation, going on one of the review platforms and going, well, they say they're this, guess what? They're not. That's the last thing you want, because that's really damaging from a brand perspective. Then you want them tracking, I'd want them tracking your data metrics on your careers site. So where are people going? Where are they spending the most time? What's resonating? What just is not getting clicked? Let's get it off there and put something more valuable to us that's going to get us some return up there. So I'd want them to have a pretty robust understanding of what metrics we need to have as well, because I'm not an employer branding expert. They can help me. I'm not going to sit here and say I know better. I think that's not my role in that scenario. I'd want them obviously supporting development of content, working with marketing, helping the recruiters and hiring managers understand how to leverage the tools. So maybe putting an EB toolkit together, running some training for hiring managers so that there is that consistency of messaging throughout the process. And they could do that with the talent team. I'd also include HR and marketing in that, just, as a FYI, so they can come along and know what's being spoken about. And again, that's coming back to keeping your stakeholders close and people within the sphere of influence close so that they can see. What else? Have I missed anything else?
There's enough there.
There's a list. There's a
Just
list.
getting tired listening to it.
Wow. Harsh.
No, but it's true. There is a lot of opportunity. I mean,
Yeah.
that you wouldn't just get them to do it all at once, but there's opportunity for
Ongoing.
a recruitment marketer to be a real, or employee brander to be a real asset.
Absolutely.
To really stoke the fire, to create efficiencies within the talent team. What are your thoughts in hearing that, Grant?
I think you've covered off everything that would typically come to mind for me and what I've experienced in different organisations as well. I guess the other side that you already touched on could be that that potential cost saving to the business as well, and how they're generating those efficiencies for the organisation. Yeah.
Owning a number.
Owning a number, or cost savings, cost avoidance is always that side.
Well,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. The impact of the project, attrition, like one number to the other. It's such a big gap, and
But
and
that's
money
18
saved.
months of work, right? And the great thing about that contact centre attrition is that it's a month-by-month reduction. It's not a
Of course.
fall off a
Yeah.
cliff one month and up it goes again. It's literally month-by-month reduction
Okay.
for over 18 months.
Yeah.
So that consistency was really important.
Yeah, but that directly impacts the bottom line. Like 60% turnover is how much pressure is that putting on your TA team?
Immense. When I started, the frustration in the TA team, which it was at the time, was extraordinary. We had tears. We had, I don't know if I can do this anymore. We had, I'm working 10 hours a day. We didn't have particularly strong planning in place around attrition, so I got involved in some conversations with workforce planning as well, which is a whole separate podcast. There are a lot of pressures that it puts on a talent team, which then in turn puts pressure on the broader HR team. So you have ER cases, you have terminations, you've got all the admin associated, like the cumulative effect of a bad hire at volume is extraordinary.
And call center specifically, there's a dollar value associated to that seat. So you throw that on top, and then you're throwing on top, as you mentioned, it takes them 6 months to see a return.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a lot. There's a lot that goes into it.
And we hadn't even discussed those sort of costs as well, right? We hadn't even sort of delved into that sort of space, that it's beyond the talent acquisition and the improvement there. It's obviously obviously all the other talent related
laptops, headsets, system licenses, the whole shebang. Like
retraining, everything.
yeah,
Yeah. All the downtime in between. So you've obviously
missing SLAs, getting penalties from your clients.
oh, huge.
Yeah, it adds up really fast. Yeah.
I think you can build a strong case for an ongoing focus in this area. Many metrics
Yeah.
across the whole business.
Yeah, and that's what I'd encourage anyone that's looking to do is think more broadly than just your immediate talent or TA function. Think of the impacts.
Second and third order effects.
Yeah. Have a conversation with the business. Ask them what the financial impact to their business unit is if they have X number of vacancies every month.
Take a box of tissues with you.
Yes. Yeah, especially if they're missing SLAs, because they're hefty bills that you get from your client if you miss your SLAs in a contact center environment, because then that's their member or customer experience that gets impacted, and it's their brand also that can be damaged. So it can impact your client relationship. So when you start thinking about the pebble in the water and the ripples,
Can you have a favourite episode?
that's a no.
Choose your child. Choose your child, but don't tell the other ones. Is that what you're saying? They'll never know, right?
I won't tell them.
Well, do you have any last question?
No, I think we've covered everything. But I think that's a huge perspective for employer branding people such as myself to understand the different aspects and maybe think beyond the impact of the role. We're thinking in terms of TA and marketing metrics, but obviously there's a lot of other significant business metrics as well, which, to be honest, I don't hear that in a lot of conversations within TA circles as well, of those other second and third order effects of what's going on, and I guess those changes as well.
Oh, that's because I'm nosy. I go and talk to the business and I lift up the carpet and go,
There's a
okay,
cockroach.
I need to solve it.
Look, another one.
What do we do? I'm nosy and I like to understand how the business works, and because also selfishly it gives you opportunities that you might be able to leverage down the track, like putting a business case together for an employer branding.
Yeah, well, you can't do it all yourself. You need systems or software. Or you need people to achieve outcomes.
Yeah,
Don't
getting
do it
some
yourself.
internal advocates. That's the name of the game, and there are lots of ways to do that.
Awesome.
Well, fascinating episode. Thank you for joining us,
You're
Jamie.
welcome.
Greatly appreciated.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been great.